starts right now.
It is meant to help you relax, but investigators say these aromatherapy room sprays may hold a harmful and potentially deadly bacteria. The recall alert coming up.
And boosters now available from all three major COVID-19 vaccine providers in the U.S., but the timelines for the vaccinations differ. That's coming up. But first, an increasing number of suspected human smugglers are getting caught in the hill country miles and hours away from the border. The rural counties northwest of Bexar County are buckling down on traffic stops. Yeah, one city is seeing more than 30 times the number of human smuggling cases they typically respond to. That work putting a strain on resources and officers. The Night Team's Patty Santos tells us what solutions these agencies are coming up with.
A rare type of crime for hill country law enforcement.
One vehicle had 27 people in it.
Human smuggling in Junction City, Kimball County.
Literally stacked like logs in the back seat and in the bed of the vehicle.
The police department went from working one human smuggling case in 2020 to 33 this year so far.
When these instances happen, it's all hands on deck.
With only about a dozen law enforcement officers across the county, their vehicles, resources, and manpower is taking a toll.
We had 4 incidents in 1 week.
Over in Kerr County, the sheriff's office facing a similar problem. Investigators say smugglers drawn in on social media by what they see as easy money are using their highways 41, 83, 377, 290, and I-10 to smuggle suspects. In Kerr County, investigators will soon be put to patrol heavy traffic areas.
We're going to be paying more attention to traffic violations. We're going to try to make more contacts with vehicles out on the highway.
Kerr County is also escalating charges for suspects seizing vehicles and devices in hopes of deterring other smugglers.
That we have no air support, we have no state agencies that can help us. Our troopers are being pulled from Kimball County to the border.
Officers are working with limited overtime pay. Without a tax base in Kimball County to hire more officers, Junction City Police is looking to the state.
We've submitted for a couple of drones through Operation Lone Star. We've also submitted for some sort of ATV to assist us in being able to cover a lot more terrain.
About a half a dozen people have been charged with human smuggling cases in Kerr County since June. Over in Kimball County, they tell us some ranchers have already reported some property damage. John Paul, Myra?
Thank you, Patty. A potentially deadly bacteria leading Walmart to recall some room sprays. This recall involves the Better Homes and Gardens branded essential oil infused aromatherapy room spray with gemstones. The bacteria that may be in these bottles can cause a potentially fatal condition called melioidosis. The illness investigated in 4 people in the U.S., including a case right here in Texas. 2 of those cases ended in death. None of the victims traveled internationally, but the product was made overseas. If you own this, you're advised to double bag and box up the item before returning it.
It's official. 2 more booster shots now made available, along with Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson now given the green light from the CDC. Under the new guidelines, the boosters are for people 65 and older and adults at high risk of COVID because of health conditions or at high risk of exposure because of their job or living arrangements. You're also able to mix and match boosters, but it's important to note the Pfizer or Moderna boosters have to come at least 6 months after your last dose. The J&J booster is being offered 2 months after your last dose. When it comes to the COVID-19 vaccine in children, the FDA Advisory Committee will meet Tuesday to discuss the topic. From there, the FDA itself and the CDC will need to sign off. Those shots could be available for young children in early November.
Other top stories tonight: a service held for James Chaidez, the young boy's remains found months after being reported missing in January. His ashes released to Chaidez's great aunt last month. Today's service is at St. Gabriel Catholic Church to honor that baby boy. His mother, Delaney Chaidez, is accused in that case. Newly uncovered evidence could push back the murder trial of Andre McDonald, the Air Force major accused in his wife's death. Prosecutors say that a disc containing about 100,000 items related to this case now being reviewed. Investigators say it was only recently found after a previous detective on the case retired. A new detective then came across that disc. Prosecutors only have 2 weeks to review the new evidence before the information needs to be handed over to McDonald's legal team. It's unclear if prosecutors will meet that deadline or if the trial date will be delayed once again. The latest date was set for November 8th. On November 5th, a hearing is scheduled for an update.
Court documents are shedding more light on that deadly shooting on a movie set in New Mexico. According to those records, Alec Baldwin was handed a loaded weapon by an assistant director who indicated it was safe to use. A search warrant also indicated the assistant director did not know the prop gun was loaded with live rounds. Baldwin releasing a statement saying there are no words to convey his shock and sadness in the tragic accident. One woman was killed, another man injured when Baldwin discharged the prop firearm on the set of a film called Rust. Investigators seized Baldwin's blood-stained costume, the prop gun, and the other prop guns and ammunition in this investigation.
If I was on that set, I would be very curious as to what broke down as far as the rules, the regulations, and the safety precautions.
Baldwin says he is fully cooperating with the investigation to address how this happened. A spokesman for the Santa Fe County Sheriff says detectives are looking into what type of projectile was discharged and how.
The U.S. Supreme Court allowing the restrictive abortion ban in Texas to remain in effect as legal challenges play out. The issue will eventually be heard by the High Court on November 1st. The ban outlaws abortions past 6 weeks of pregnancy in Texas. When the Supreme Court hears oral arguments, the justices will focus on the unusual construction of this law. Texas officials aren't allowed to enforce it. Instead, private citizens from any state can bring a civil suit against anyone in Texas who helps violate the state law.
The tech district in San Antonio filled with many looking towards the future. Geekdom has helped build that tech ecosystem, and today Geekdom is turning 10 years old. The organization in San Antonio is San Antonio's collaborative startup community. They've helped entrepreneurs grow their ideas into businesses, many of them now becoming part of the tech industry. For the next 10 years, Geekdom plans to help launch the next 500 startups, with 75% of them calling San Antonio home.
And it was another day with temperatures above average across our area. 63 this morning, 84 the high temperature. A lovely evening, though. You just notice a bit of humidity out there. That's going to lead to some fog tomorrow morning. This weekend, overall, a bit muggy, temperatures above average, even some record-challenging warmth in the days ahead. We have Tropical Storm Rick to talk about what it means to our rain chances, and then even a cold front next week. See you in a bit.
And Friday night high school football is here. Greg Simmons with your big game coverage and fan cam, plus where Larry's ending up for tonight's road trip matchup.
And San Antonio's West Side coming together ahead of Dia de los Muertos. How this tight-knit community is highlighting this special holiday. That's next on the Nightbeat.
A West Side Center is keeping tradition at the root of the upcoming Dia de los Muertos celebration, from the special flowers to the unique items placed on each ofrenda or altar. The Night Team's Patty Santos shows us how a sense of community will be represented on the displays within this West Side neighborhood.
We wanted to tell you the story about how these marigolds are being grown in compost that came from green bins that came from the entire San Antonio community. And that's pretty significant because for this West Side Center, Dia de los Muertos is community.
Those things can become the earth that then becomes the marigold, that then becomes the memory, that then becomes the joy. So it's important that everything is tied.
Thousands of flowers grown in compost donated by the city of San Antonio to the Rinconcito de Esperanza Center. It's just one symbol of community that will be represented in the West Side altars.
We are just, trying to get ready for Dia de los Muertos.
Volunteers have also been busy creating plastic marigolds.
We found the things around us that we could recycle and reuse.
Nichos made from cigar boxes and cans that will be distributed to the community and schools with planted marigolds. The flowers meant to help lead the spirits of past loved ones to the decorated altars. The preparation to the celebration is both spiritual and symbolic. Part of that includes a community bulk cleanup starting October 29th.
It's the end of a harvest. You clean up your property. You clean up your neighborhood. You clean up yourself. You clean up your spirit.
Inside the Mujer Arte studio, there's excitement to share their contributions too.
To me, it's just a lot of fun, and it's a tribute to your ancestors or your people that have moved on.
Handmade clay candelabras, incense burners, and other pieces that will tell someone's story and become part of the altars.
It's a week of altar making and flower making and nicho making and reminiscing.
Patty Santos, KSAT 12 News.
Day of the Dead begins on November 1st. The Rinconcito de Esperanza Center encourages anyone who wants to check out the altars or help set up the altars to join them this weekend. We have all that information on KSAT.com.
And 1 week from today, the Dia de los Muertos parade along the river. It is impressive every year. I know it'll be even more so this year. Check that out next Friday. But before we get to next Friday, we got plenty of weather between now and then to talk about, Adam.
Yeah, and I do foresee some noticeable changes by next Friday. It's going to be very different out there for the parade and, of course, for Friday football games. Let's get right to it outside. Let's talk temperatures first because they're going to see some changes in the days ahead. We're right around 70 degrees here in San Antonio, from 70 in Helotes and at the International Airport, 69 measured at Randolph, Converse area, to 75 Pleasanton, 68 Comfort, 74 Canyon Lake. You get the idea. Not bad outside. It's pleasant. It's just a little humid, but we're used to humidity around here. Temperatures this weekend, mid 80s tomorrow, upper 80s right near 90 on Sunday, and I do think we'll hit 90 degrees on Monday. That's our record challenging day because the record high for Monday is actually 91. So there's a chance we'll make a run for that record. We'll see. But we do see temperatures fall off a bit in the middle of next week. Not necessarily so much in the afternoon, a little closer to average, but particularly the mornings are going to get cooler behind a cold front. So we'll talk about that. One reason the mornings will get cooler is because our humidity will be swept away. It's still a ways away. Okay, you'll notice it this weekend and early next week. Dew points now 60s, so we're in that muggy level. They're going to rise a bit this weekend and even into early next week on Monday. Dew points around 70. That gets us to that really sticky, sweaty, and many people would consider oppressive level. But notice how that humidity swept away by Wednesday. Early morning cold front gets rid of the humidity, makes it a little more fall-like outside, and that's really going to cool down our mornings for the end of next week. Taking a look at the satellite and radar south of us, we've had a few showers and thunderstorms, especially from Laredo to Corpus Christi down to Brownsville, in the valley, and even across the Rio Grande into parts of Mexico. But we've been watching this right here. This was a cluster of thunderstorms over the past few days. Now it's organized. Tropical Storm Rick continuing to strengthen, becoming a hurricane, probably even a Category 2 throughout the weekend. And then once we get into Tuesday, the leftovers of it, the upper level moisture, is likely to be swung our way, pushed overhead. But unlike with the remnants of Pamela, which is about a week and a half ago, this doesn't have all the ingredients to turn into a big rain event for us. So this weekend, about 10% chance of a few pop-ups. By Wednesday morning, about a 20 to 30% chance with the cold front combined with that tropical moisture, which isn't going to be in place for very long. Fog tomorrow morning, actually fog every morning through Tuesday, and then windy by next Wednesday. That's when you'll notice the lack of humidity, and mornings 40s by next Thursday.
Well, weekend's looking pretty good. Thanks for that, Adam.
Yeah, thank you, Adam.
And now we got big game coverage to look forward to. What can we expect, Greg?
Well, the big game lived up to its moniker tonight because Alamo Heights and Canyon, or I should say in this particular case, it was Champion, went down to the wire. But the reason why I'm so flummoxed is we have a shocker tonight. After the game, the big game and our big game coverage, the big upset tonight at Smithson Valley on the very week the Judson Rockets lose their head coach. Coming up. awesome start, ladies. The 6th-ranked champion Chargers of Boerne trying to take over the lead in District 15 5A Division II, but they'd have to get by the undefeated and 5th-ranked Alamo Heights Mules. The Mules kick off the scoring. Quarterback James Sobey going on top to Rhett Anderson, who makes a leaping grab in the back corner of the end zone. 11-yard touchdown, 7-0. Mules will take a 2-touchdown lead for the Chargers get on the board. It's a 14-9 game. Chargers are charging right now. Quarterback Carson Kaiser escapes the pocket, finds Ryan Brandon, who makes a great grab, turns that into a 31-yard score. Champion would go for 2, get it, take a 17-14 lead at halftime. Mules kick back. Sobey to Anderson again, this time from 30 yards out in the air here. Mules up 21-17 in the third after the great catch of the end zone, and that is your final score.
Our defense has really played well this year, and they had to step it up tonight against a good team, and they did a great job. They got just enough stops and a few turnovers. Couldn't be more proud of them, and they played their tails off.
All right, the Brennan Band is fired up to see the Bears 28-0 lead over the John Jay Mustangs, Gustafson Stadium. The Bears' Jason Love piling up the yards on the ground, picking up 9 yards to get down to the Jay 15-yard line. Bears on the goal line. They give it to Love again, punches it in, 34-0 lead. The final from Gus, 69-6. Brennan, the Steel Knights, trying to stay undefeated, hosting the South San Bobcats. A nice jump on the Bobcats early. Quarterback Connor Vincent hits to Sean Singleton on the swing pass, turns the Jets on. Looks like he might get taken down around the 40, but he stays balanced, keeps on trucking for the 55-yard touchdown. 7-0 Steel. The final from Linoff, 56-6. What a battle tonight at Ranger Stadium. Number 3, Smithson Valley hosting Johnson with offensive coordinator Joel Call taking over as head coach. Fourth quarter, Rockets down 32-27. Quarterback Michael Burrows goes deep for Andre Jones. Check it out in slow motion. This is a fingertip grab for the 35-yard touchdown with 8 seconds left. The Rockets stop the Rangers on the ensuing kickoff. Time runs out. Johnson with a remarkable victory. And in Smithson Valley, their first loss of the season. Let's head to the big game coverage scoreboard. What a game. 33-32. Judson is the final in that one. Steel over South San, 56-6. Elsewhere, Brennan with the big win over Jay. And how about Alamo Heights edging out Boerne champion 21-17. Reagan Rattlers trying to be careful not to look past Roosevelt tonight since they face Johnson next week. And the Rattlers strike first right on defense. Roosevelt with the ball first, but not for long. The Rattlers turning defense into offense. Gregory Featherstone, the third, gets the ball thrown right to him. He's taking it 48 yards the other way, 7-0 lead. The final, Reagan gets the win, 35-7. Toga night for the Churchill fans at Hero Stadium as they watch the Chargers try and tame the Brahmas. Churchill up 21-7. They show no signs of slowing down. Quarterback Ryan Vigil running the read option, decides to keep it, picks up 8 tough yards. A little later, Vigil lobs it to Barron Gardner in the back corner of the end zone, 28-7. The final from Heroes, 42-10. Clark Cougars taking on lead tonight, hoping to keep their playoff hopes alive. Cougars running back Nikos Varelas finds the gap up the middle, pickups 33 yards all the way down to the league 34-yard line. Cougars stay on the ground. This time it is Chris Gertz. He gets the ball. Look at him weave his way through the defense. This is for a 34-yard touchdown, 7-0 Clark lead. And the final from Ferris, it is 49-0 Clark. Team captains meeting at midfield to shake hands before kickoff between the Titans and Rio Grande City. Legacy pushing the Rattlers early here. Running back Fernando Flores running strong behind the offensive line. Bounces off one defender before getting brought down, but not before picking up 13 yards. Titans cap it off that drive. Cesar Tovar play action pass to wide open Javier Murillo, 23 yards. Titans take the early 7-0 lead. Back to the big game coverage scoreboard for that final. Southwest Legacy with a shutout, 28-0. Reagan over Roosevelt, 35-7. It was 42-10. Churchill over MacArthur, 49-0. Clark over Lee. The Highland Owls are trying to hang on to that lead in district, hosting the Kennedy Rockets tonight. The Rock Pile. Kennedy is up 14-10 in the third. Rockets on the move. Quarterback Joseph Simmons trying to escape the pocket, but can't. So he makes a leaping throw to Raymond Flores and picks up 22 yards to get all the way down to the Owls 10. Fourth and goal from the 3, Kennedy, and they go for it. Simmons finds running back Daniel Sanchez in the end zone for the score, 20-10. After the missed extra point, the final from Alamo Stadium. Look at that. Kennedy holds on for the win, 27-24. Nothing like nachos on a Friday night watching a little high school football. Second quarter, Sam Houston Hurricanes up 28-12 over Memorial. But the Minutemen are prepared to keep fighting. Quarterback Sam Hernandez going deep to the end zone for Jacob Sanchez. 31-yard score against Memorial within 10 after a failed 2-point conversion. Final from Edgewood Veterans Stadium. Memorial gets the win, 45-42. At Texas Stadium, Wimberley hosting number 4 Navarro, and the Texans offense is rolling. Quarterback Cash McCullum hits Nathan Simpson at the first down marker. He cuts inside, weaves his way all the way down into the end zone to 69-yard touchdown. Let's see if that has gone foul. It has, 27-0 Wimberley. Veterans and Memorial cheerleaders on the sideline. When we arrive at Rutledge facing New Braunfels Canyon, the Patriots clinging to a 4-point lead, but look to extend that. that. Quarterback Alex Alva keeps it on the read option, bounces to the outside, gets to the sideline in the end zone. The 12-yard touchdown made it 29-18. Back to the big game coverage scoreboard for that final. Veterans Memorial with a win. Look at that, outscoring Canyon 62-46. Shutout for Wimberley over Navarro tonight. It is elsewhere. Highlands falling to Kennedy 27-24, and Memorial outscoring Houston 45-42. The Randolph Rohawks flexing their muscle at Cotulla tonight, 15-0 at fourth, but the Rohawks are not done. Colton Howard takes a handoff, plows his way in for the 5-yard score, 22-0 Randolph. The final from Randolph Air Force Base, 42-0. Meantime, on post, the Cole Cougars were hosting the Jordan Indians. Jordan up 13-0 when we arrived. The Indians were on the move. Quarterback Matt Hicks bootlegs pass to Hayden Harris for the 17-yard score to get Cole into the red zone, I should say. The Indians capped that off drive with the quarterback keeper you saw right there. Hicks pushes the pile in from 1 yard out, 19-0 Jordan. At that point, the final from Fort Sam, Cole falls to Jordan 31-22. At Bulldog Stadium tonight, Somerset hosting Bernie. First quarter, Greyhounds quarterback Rashawn Galloway goes deep for Cam Johnson. He hauls it in over the shoulder for the 48-yard touchdown. Let's head back to the big game coverage scoreboard for the final and more. Somerset falls to Bernie 51-21. Pleasanton with a big win on the road, 52-8 in Uvalde. 42-0 Randolph over Cotulla, and Jordan with a win over Cole on post 31-22. We are just getting started. Up next, our big game coverage road trip, fan cam, more highlights and more scores. But first, let's listen to the Edison Golden Bears marching band. Our big game coverage road trip is a drive down Highway 87 tonight, starting in East Central, finishing at Nixon Smiley. And let's take it to Mustang Country. That's where we find our Larry Ramirez.
Hey guys, you know what? New Braunfels at East Central tonight felt like a playoff game. The home side was jam-packed, and they loved what they saw early on. The Hornets charging the field ahead of their 27-6A showdown with New Braunfels tonight. Opening drive, Unicorns at the Hornets 13. Quarterback Aiden Bauman throws the ball, and it's intercepted by the Hornets' Zachary Vidal around the 10. He just jumped the route, and he's going back the other way with this guy's blocking for him, and of course Unicorns trying to take him down. Vidal returns at 75 yards to the Unicorn 15-yard line. 5 plays later, the handoff goes to Kenyon McClure, and he gets a 2-yard touchdown. The point after was good, and East Central strikes first, 7-0. And how about these fans in Stockdale double-dipping tonight, watching the Astros and Red Sox in the ALCS while checking out Stockdale and Dilly across the street at Bobby Russell Field. That is awesome. Second quarter, Stockdale quarterback Cutter Clancy throws the ball to Jeremy Irwin for a 24-yard touchdown. Extra point was good, and Stockdale led 14-0. And right here, fans cheering at Nixon Smiley. Their Mustangs hosting the Poth Pirates. Third quarter, Pirates ball. Quarterback Jude George throws to Jaden Fangman, who skies high for the touchdown grab, 14 yards, and it's 35-0. Pirates, let's go to the scoreboard now for those finals. And New Braunfels goes on to win 31-20. Stockdale is victorious 22-0, and Poth wins in a shutout 49-0. And you know what? I need to give a shout out to a 3-year-old boy, Tristan from Poth. He came up to give me a high five tonight. When I went in to give him a high five, he gave me a hug. Greg, hugs are always better. Back to you.
Love hugs. Time now for Fan Cam, where your fans help us cover one of the big games in our big game covers tonight. Here's our Andrew Seeley.
What an atmosphere this evening at Harlandale Memorial Stadium. Indians taking on Dripping Springs, and the Tigers are pulling away in the second quarter. Quarterback Austin Novosad hits Walker right in stride for the 29-yard touchdown, and it's 24-6. Indians need an answer on the ensuing drive. Quarterback Joseph Rodriguez keeps it himself, takes off along the sideline, coming right at you for the 13-yard score. They go for 2 and convert to cut the lead down to 10 with a minute left to go in the half. But Novosad and the Tigers answer back. He hits Garon Duncan for the 8-yard touchdown, and it's 31-14. That is your score at the end of the first half. Dripping Springs leading Harlandale 31-14. From Harlandale ISD Memorial Stadium, Andrew Seeley, KSAT 12 Sports.
Thank you, Andrew. Let's see if that has gone final for you, and it certainly has. Dripping Springs with the win, 52-14. McCullum over Kyle Lehman, 43-13. The Astros looking like they're going to wrap it up tonight. They're ahead 5-0 in the 8th, and the Spurs fall for the first time this season.
Lots of stuff being covered.
Yeah.
It was a tough one for the Spurs, but my Houston Astros are an inning away
very close
from the World Series.
He's been checking his phone.
You see, I got the orange tie on. I got my Astro socks on. I won't show you that.
We'll be right back.
And that does it for the Night Beat. Don't forget, Good Morning San Antonio starts at 6.
Have a good night and a great weekend.